Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my 2024 meal planning video. In this video, we will be going over my dinner rotations and I will also be filling in my meal planning calendar. If you would like to see my goals for meal planning this year and the theme nights I came up with for 2024, go check out part 1 and I will link that in the cards and in the description down below. Now, before we get to the video, I just wanted to give you a heads up that registration is now open for my Set It and Forget It meal planning bootcamp. It is going to be so much fun. There are going to be tons of resources, workbooks, and spreadsheets to help you plan out your meals for the year, as well as video lessons. And just especially for this first boot camp, I am going to do coaching calls every single day. Now, registration for this first boot camp will end on Monday, January 15 at 8 a.m. So be sure to sign up right away if you would like to join. All right, enjoy the video, and I hope to see you in the boot camp. So the next step is we are going to get out the Organize Your Dinner Rotations worksheet. If you have the workbook, if you don't, grab a piece of paper. That will work just as well. And I'm going to take the theme nights I just decided on, and I'm going to write them across the top. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to write them here, all across the top, and then below each theme night, I'm going to write down all of the meals that I want for that theme night. And you're going to see, I think, I haven't done this ahead of time, so we'll see if it works or not. Generally, the rotations are all different sizes, and that's okay. You'll see how this is going to work and how it's going to be helpful once we get to the meal planning calendar. So if this is your first time doing this with the full year meal planning, don't worry. It's going to make a lot of sense real soon. But you do want to do this work ahead of time, and it will make the calendar part a breeze. Okay, now we get to the fun part. This is my favorite part of the meal planning process because this is where everything comes together and it is so streamlined that it takes very little mental exertion to do the rest of the process. So I get out my meal planning calendar. This comes with the workbook, like I said, and it's also in the spreadsheet, but you can use any calendar you want to. Before I made my own calendar, I actually used the Amy Knapp Big Grid calendar, and I really liked it. It worked very well. So that's another option. I will link that in the description below if you want to check that out, or you can use any calendar that you want to. And then you're just going to go through the rotations and put everything onto the calendar. So when I used to do this, when I first started with that first video, I would go through one day at a time. I would typically pick the easiest day. So for me this year, that would be Monday. And what I would do is go through all of the Mondays. And on the first Monday, put the first, second Monday, put the next Monday, put the next. And then I would just start back over at the top and keep writing in my Mondays and rotating all throughout the year. Then I would go to my next most complicated day, which for me this year is Thursday, and then the next most complicated day, and so on. What I do now, though, I have found it's actually a little bit faster to do maybe 2 or 3 days, 1 month at a time. I don't like doing any more than that at a time, just because then you really have to start thinking through the rotations again and wait, where was I? What did I put the last? You do a lot more flipping back and forth. This year, actually, I feel like my rotations are all fairly long, so I might go back and do just one day at a time. But if you want to do 2 days at a time, it can save you a little bit of time if you're able to keep everything straight and you don't have to flip back and forth too terribly much. I did also want to mention before we start that you probably saw this if you were paying attention. I scrapped the theme night, the quinoa and tofu theme night, and I put a different one down for Sunday for a couple of reasons. One, I was finding delicious recipes that I was really excited about, but my family eats so much tofu. I probably could do 1 block of tofu for each child and they would happily eat it all, and that's not even including my husband and I. So if I have a whole night once a week where the meal is centered around tofu, and I know I'm going to have to make a ton of it, not necessarily because they need that much, just because they like it, I think I'm going to end up spending a lot more money on those meals. And the tofu meals also had a lot more ingredients, so again, I would be spending a lot more on those meals as well. And they were also a little bit more time intensive. And like I said, Sundays we are often skiing and hiking in the summer and just out of the house doing yard work, things like that. So I want something that will be fairly easy on Sunday evenings. So I switched it. I was remembering that just recently the kids and Ross were talking about wanting to do breakfast for dinners again as a theme night. So that's an easy, cheap, it's not maybe the healthiest, but since we get a lot of nutrition the rest of the week, I feel like it's okay to have one theme night that may not be as amazing for us. So that will be breakfast for dinner on Sundays, and the rotation will be pancakes, then eggs and hash browns, then biscuits and gravy, then waffles, then breakfast burritos. So I kind of tried to rotate or alternate between sweet and savory for that one. Then for Monday, I'll just run through all of the rotations real quick in case you're interested. If you're not, you can skip ahead to the next timestamp. But Monday will be beans and cornbread, beans and rice, and beans and quinoa. And I will probably rotate through kidney beans, pinto beans, mayakoba beans, and just different types of beans as well. But I'm not going to write it on the calendar because part of the point of this is saving money. And if I have a bunch of beans that I had bought in bulk on hand, I may not necessarily go buy more for that specific week. I will probably rotate through a lot of different kinds throughout the year, but it may be a little more bunched together. So that's Monday. Super simple, super cheap, but also healthy. Beans are really good for us. So Tuesday is the bread, soup, and salad night, and this one I actually decided to make it a seasonal theme night. I need to do a video on how to do seasonal meal planning. It's really fun, but you'll kind of get the idea here. I divided it up between warm meals and cold meals. So I will still probably have salad during the winter months just because I enjoy eating salad a lot. But then in the summer, I found some lentil salad recipes and some other types of salad recipes where it's more of a meal salad. And I think that will work better than soup in the summer because no one really wants to eat soup in the summer. So for the cold months, we will have lentil soup, Malaysian laksa, which I could eat every day. I absolutely love that soup. That's one of the Revive recipes. Split pea soup. And I actually like to keep on hand yellow and green split peas. They're both really healthy and cheap and easy to make. So I will probably rotate back and forth with that as well, depending on what I'm in the mood for. A hearty dark legume soup. It's one of the Revive cookbooks. A ginger peanut soup, which is one of my childhood fondest memories. We had these friends, and almost every time we went to their house, she would make this soup, and she gave me the recipe. I think when I was about 16 or so, I was asking her for it. So I have that recipe, and I'm going to start putting that into the rotation. I'm really excited about that one. And a chunky veg lentil, another one of the Revive soups. I didn't write down which one. I'm going to look and see. I like to, when it's one of the Revive cookbooks, because I have so many of them, I have 6, I like to write down which one it was in. That makes it, and I write it on the calendar, and that makes it just save me a little bit of time as I am creating my shopping lists. So, chunky veg, lentil. see. Yes, okay, so that's in book 4. I need to write that on there. 4. Okay, so then in the summer months, for Tuesday, I have a cold lentil salad recipe for my sister that's amazing. A green curry lentil salad from the Revives. A Thai satay noodle salad. Oh, and I'm actually going to switch these around so that it goes lentil salad, Thai noodle salad, different lentil salad, and then pad Thai, so another Thai salad. And both of those have rice noodles in them, so those are fairly inexpensive as well. And then there is an Oliver the Russian salad recipe, one of the Revive cookbooks. He said it's a really common party food over there. They actually gave the salad a name because it's so common. And then a fragrant peanut noodles recipe. And I forgot to write that one down as well. Let's write that down. I think it might be this book too. Fragrant. No, let's see. Fragrant. Okay, book 3. This is why we write it down. Otherwise, I'd be doing that every time I came to that recipe. Which book is it in? So, then Wednesday, we have, I called it on here, the beans remix night. I think that's a little more interesting than beans foods, but it doesn't really matter what you call your theme nights. So we have burritos, yum bowls. If you're from the Pacific Northwest, you know what those are, but it has a really delicious sauce, and I've actually found some copycat recipes that I'm pretty excited about, because the actual sauce you have to buy with one of your kidneys at the store. It's gotten so expensive, but the copycat sauce, I actually tried it last week and it was really good. So I'm excited about the yum bowls. Tacos, fajitas, taco pizza, which I think will be kind of a fun thing to mix in there. Chili bean and cornbread casserole, that is one of my childhood favorites. And then Italian beans and rice. That one I get from Vegan Yum Yum. It's so different than anything I would think of to do with beans and rice, but it's so delicious. It's very easy to make, and it's pretty cheap to make too. Then I'm going to do Tuscan white bean wraps. And this is the other reason that I'm not putting which type of bean on here, because I'm going to look as I'm making my grocery list, see what is on the Wednesday menu and see what type of beans would go with that. So when I make the Tuscan white bean wraps, I'll make a pot of white beans for that day. And when I make the Italian beans, I think that one, I actually can't remember if it has black or kidney beans in it. Let's find out. I can't remember, and now it's going to bug me. It's one of these tabs. Like I said, I don't use this a lot, but the ones that I do make are delicious. The super quick tomato basil cream pasta, that's in my pasta rotation. It's so good. And then, no, that's the chili lime tofu. Okay, Italian beans and rice. Oh, I was totally wrong. Great Northern beans. On the Monday, I will make the Great Northern beans that will go in this. She does give you an option to do it canned, but it's just so much cheaper to do your own beans. And then, okay, this one isn't technically beans, but I couldn't figure out where else to put it in the rotations through the whole week, and I really wanted it in here. It's a lentil shepherd's pie. One of my friends made this for me right after our little guy was born, and it's something I actually will every once in a while just think about and crave. It was so good. So I wanted it in the rotation this year. And then the last one is the black bean stir fry. That is in the Revive cookbooks. So then on Thursdays, that's our sandwich night. And that will be Sunburgers. That's one of my childhood favorites, followed by peanut butter and jelly because we're busy people. And that will be followed by tofu sandwiches, which are pretty delicious if I don't say so myself. I actually made up the recipe and they're kind of fun. They've got some different things in them that you don't normally eat, like plantains. And maybe someday I'll share the recipe with you guys, but we really enjoy them. And then I'm following that with peanut butter and honey. So I like to do that if I have some things that take some more effort and some things that take less. I try to kind of rotate through those as well within the rotation. And then the Build It meals on Friday night. For that rotation, we have falafels, gado gado, which is a delicious potato kind of salad with a peanut sauce. It's so good. Baked potatoes, patatas bravas, which is I think it's a Spanish-inspired salad. Spring rolls, donburi, which is a tofu rice dish. So I do have some tofu dishes in here, but it's just not going to be an every week thing. And then Frankies, which Frankies are really delicious. They're kind of I think they're like a Bombay type wrap. I haven't made them in a really long time, but I remembered that I liked them and I put them on this rotation. And then Saturday will be mac and cheese. We have a vegan mac and cheese recipe that's really good. Pesto, quick and easy tomato cream pasta, which is from that vegan yum yum book that I showed you, and Mexicali pasta, which is one that I grew up with. Now, if you're watching this thinking this is all way too complicated, I could never come up with all of my rotations, I actually have something called Meal Planning Magic, and that is a Google Sheet with tons of different rotations options for breakfasts, lunches, dinners, and I have all kinds of recipe ideas for you as well for if you are plant-based like we are, if you eat meat, and anything else in between. So you can check that out if this step seems really complicated for you. And in Meal Planning Magic, you get all of the information from the Set It and Forget It spreadsheet, the computer version as well. So once you choose which rotation and which recipes you want to use, you can plug that in and still create your own yearly meal plan. So yeah, this is where things get a little bit exciting for me. This is my favorite part because I can kind of zone out a little bit and not use my brain so much. I know that's sad, but if you're a mom too, you get it. You get to use your brain all day long, and sometimes you're just kind of tired. So I am going to go through. I actually might try, and I realized, guys, I'm so sorry. I forgot to set my timer this year. So I'll have to look at the camera footage for how long the rest of this took me, and I can figure it out from there. But I will set my timer now, and we will know how long the part of filling in the calendar takes, at least by the end of this video. You guys will know everything, actually. I'll just know this part by the end of filming it. And I think I'm actually going to... No, I'm not. I was going to say I'm going to try just doing 1 month completely at a time, but that just, it makes it so you have to go back and think about where you ended every single one when you flip the calendar over. So that won't work. I want to just do I want to do one at a time or a couple at a time? I think I might just do one at a time, actually, because when I did a couple at a time, I did find myself having to flip back and forward. Sometimes I like to turn on some YouTube videos while I'm watching this, or while I'm doing this, watching some YouTube videos out of the corner of my eye, listening. And if I'm doing that, paying a little bit of attention to something else, it's just easier to stay on track when I'm doing one at a time. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to start with Monday because that's my easiest rotation, and then I'll just work up to the more complicated ones. So I will start the timer, and I'll see you all in a little bit. Hey guys, it is the next day. I was up way too late last night. Not even going to tell you how late it was, finishing up this meal plan. And I was turning the camera on and off to not have so much footage to go through, but I wanted to film the entire last day that I was writing in hopes of getting kind of a cool time lapse. But I looked up at the end and I realized the camera was off. I had been looking at how much time I had left on the memory card and not on the battery. So I felt really sad inside and I decided to just go to bed, forget about it. I would finish up the video the next day and hope I hadn't lost too much footage when it shut itself off. But now that I just turned it back on, I think that I got everything. So hopefully I did. Hopefully it ended up being an interesting time lapse there at the end. But that is pretty much it. That's all it takes to meal plan all of your evening meals in one evening. And yes, I did finish that evening. It took me, let's see here. I remembered to stop the timer, so that was good. It took me 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 51 seconds to do the actual writing in of the meal plan. It took longer than that to write everything out, deciding on the theme nights and the dinner rotations, and it takes me a little longer because I'm making a video and I have to stop and talk in between everything. But if you aren't making a video of yourself doing this, it shouldn't take you nearly as long as it takes me. And in the past, it's taken me roughly 2 to 3 hours to do the whole process. And I do stop the timer when I am talking to the camera so that I'm not counting that as part of the meal planning. If you would like more information on how to plan out your year of meals in advance, including how to plan your breakfasts, lunches, and snacks, I have playlists and a lot of other videos that go into more details than I went into in this video. So I will link all of those in the description down below and in the cards. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you learned how you can set your meal plan on autopilot. If you would like to use any of the templates that I used in the video, there will be links for all of them in the description down below. And if you would like to join my meal planning bootcamp, be sure to register in the link in the description down below. As always, I'm Kassy with makingtimeforgiggles.com, and my goal is to help you get 7 extra hours in your week. Be sure to subscribe down below if that sounds like something you would be into, because I would love to see you on the next video.